I'm going to give it to the Jags, because why not?
Sam Darnold has been a man on a mission. I don't know what the Chiefs were doing there.
But I think they have deep aspirations in the playoffs.
Mahomes is still Mahomes.
Hello and welcome to Ain't That Our Ball. I'm David Scott. Alongside me is Ryan Sanudo. A lot of fun Week 6 matchups to get into. Ryan, how you doing?
Very good. We're already at Week 6. It's crazy to say. Let's get things started.
Yeah, let's kick right into the Chiefs-Lions matchup. A pretty high-powered offense against another pretty high-powered offense. One team struggling a bit, another team on the rise. Let's start with the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. What have we seen so far this season?
Mahomes is still Mahomes. He's been great in terms of getting the ball to his players, his playmakers. But he just had that killer mistake, that 99-yard pick six. But other than that, he's been great. I blame at points the offensive line. There's a lot of times where he has to, evade the pressure, scramble for the first down. And he's been the leading rusher for this team. I feel like I say it every week because it's only true. But Mahomes is still Mahomes, two-time MVP. He's gotten things done, but at the same time, they're 2-3. And I shift the blame to other guys. I feel like Mahomes has done his role. He needs to have a cape on, to get his team the victory every single time.
Yeah, they're sitting in third place in that division right now behind the Chargers and the Broncos. That's rare. We don't see that. They've won this division for the past 10 years. And you're right, it's really not on Mahomes. He's had some injuries in his offense. Travis Kelce is not the same player anymore. Their defense is still pretty solid, but not at the same strength that I think we would have expected them to be. It's not a good look, and then you're coming into a matchup against a really strong Lions team that I feel could really roll over the Chiefs.
Yeah, I feel like it's mental lapses with the Chiefs. First of all, 13 penalties against the Jaguars. I feel like every single week I have no idea what I'm getting from the Chiefs. And this is an Andy Reid coach team. This is not what we're used to. With the penalties, Chris Jones in quicksand, not getting to Lawrence on that game-deciding play. I don't trust the Chiefs each week. I feel like we're getting a different version of them. Offensively, they outgained the Jaguars, and yet they still found a way to lose because the defense wasn't able to get to Lawrence. So there are things that I'm concerned with the Chiefs that I'm not concerned with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, well, let's go over and look at the Lions. You've got Jared Goff at the helm, Dan Campbell, their leader of men. And after a rough start to the season in Week 1 against the Packers, it's been just completely steady. The offense looks fantastic. The defense looks pretty solid. Let's start with Jared Goff. What's he doing to get this team right?
Just accuracy with Jared Goff every single week. I feel like every stat line, he's got 4 touchdowns, no picks, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He's found ways to get the ball to his guys, and then the run game supports him as well. And this is a team that doesn't have Ben Johnson, but John Morton, and he's looked good ever since that Week 1 loss. 4 games in a row they've won. It just feels like a well-oiled machine in Detroit. The offensive line has stepped up. It just feels like it's all systems go with the Lions compared to the Chiefs. The Lions just have those playmakers, Laporta, St. Brown, the running backs. I just trust the way things are handled in Detroit, the coaching. I feel like top to bottom, I really love what Detroit's doing. I see them as a Super Bowl contender. Why wouldn't you put them in that range?
Yeah, you said well-oiled machine. It feels like everyone is firing on all cylinders. Jared Goff is doing his job. He's got a great receiving core, good tight end, great running backs who don't get enough credit. They're just doing everything right. And while after Week 1 we thought, all right, maybe the Packers are going to step up and take this division. The Lions look like they've taken a step back. All of a sudden, same old Lions. They still look fantastic. I really, really like this team. And like you said, I see them as a Super Bowl contender, and I would maybe even now pick them to be in the Super Bowl.
Definitely, and they've had injuries too. They're going to lose Arnold for a good amount of time. Luckily, it's not season-ending. Aiden Hutchinson has been a monster for that pass rush. That's what they lost last year because we expected them to make it far in the playoffs, and they got beat by a Washington Commanders team that was very young. So the defense has stepped up, putting the pressure. I think that's what they're going to have to do against Mahomes, which isn't, a great. It's really tough to put pressure on Mahomes. But because he just evades pressure, he gets to scramble. But the Lions, from top to bottom, they find ways to make things happen. And I expect to win a close one. It's in Arrowhead, but I expect Detroit to come out, with the victory.
Yeah, we've seen Arrowhead is not exactly home field advantage this year. The Eagles came into town and took down the Chiefs. And then I think the Lions could do the same thing. They are just completely tough. They don't really let their environment get to them. I agree with you. I think the pass rush is probably going to get to Mahomes. He's had to get mobile, and he's going to have to get the ball out to not a great group of receivers right now. Xavier Worthy is back, and we've seen that Tyquan Thornton and those other guys have been strong, but he still doesn't have Rashee Rice. still doesn't have a completely healthy Worthy, and he's got a very old Travis Kelce. So I'm with you. I think the Lions have this one.
Definitely, and they're really good against the run, and we know those Chiefs running backs, they are waiting for someone to erupt, and it's not happening. Yes, I do like that rookie, Smith, but I just feel like they don't trust him enough in certain situations. Yes, Kareem Hunt and those guys did well against Jacksonville. I don't expect that to continue in this game. Detroit is very good in the trenches. The Chiefs' offensive line with the penalties, on the tackle side, with Jawan Taylor. The Detroit Lions just find ways to make things happen. They don't get the penalties. And the Chiefs, I don't know what I'm expecting every single week, and I expect the Detroit Lions to come away. Very narrow. I think this is going to be a good game, but Detroit coming away with the win.
Yeah, definitely not expecting to see the Chiefs where they are right now. A couple other teams that we thought might not be in the current state that they are, the 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars and the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks. Let's start with the Seahawks and Sam Darnold. Tough loss last week, but man, they looked really good.
Sam Darnold has been a man on a mission. He's been proving his past teams wrong. The Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, the Jets. He's found ways to get things done with his receiving core. JSN is that guy, obviously, number one. He's been a monster, but then I'm looking at Horde and all these guys that are coming out of nowhere producing because Darnold has been very accurate with the football. He's found ways to not turn the ball over. Yes, he had that one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I won't give that fault to him. It was tipped. So Sam Darnold's been great. I think he's number 2 in passer rating across the league. So they've been really good on offense. The running game has to step up a little bit, Walker and Charbonnet, but I expect, it's a long season. I expect things to get better for them as the season goes on. But Sam Darnold, man on a mission. I really like what I've been seeing from him.
I'm a huge Sam Darnold supporter. Last year, I had so much fun watching him. It was such a great story. And then this year, again, he's just rolling over what he did last year. He still looks like an elite talent. He's spreading the ball. He's been accurate with the ball. Last week, over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And yes, the unfortunate interception, but it's not on him. It got tipped. It hit a guy in the head. And unfortunately, that was the tipping point in that game that gave the Buccaneers the victory. But he's doing everything right. He's connecting really well with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Cooper Kupp seems to be doing well there. He's found his tight ends. The running game is so-so, but it's working right now. He's doing everything right. I love this Seahawks team, and sure, they're 3-2, but I think they have deep aspirations in the playoffs.
Definitely, and you look at that division, yes, the Rams, but they're coming off a bad loss. The Cardinals, terrible loss against Tennessee. Seahawks, I can see them in the playoffs. I know it's still early, 3-2. We didn't know what the expectations really were with Seattle. I feel like they've always been falling short, but that was with Geno Smith. Now comes Sam Darnold, younger guy, and he's just been accurate with the football. I like he can, evade pressure too. He can run when he really has to. So he's athletic, of course. So Sam Darnold, I think you're going to expect better things to come. I think there was a couple games early on he was struggling, but I think he's really found his mark in Seattle.
Yeah, well, on the other side of the matchup, a team that I think no one expected to be where they are, 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are just shooting up in the standings. Defense looks spectacular. Liam Cohen seems to have that offense working pretty well. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence. They are just won against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. What did you see out of that?
Yeah, if you told me before the year the Jaguars are 4-1, I would say, you know what? This is Trevor Lawrence from Clemson we're looking at in Jacksonville. And that's actually not the case. 6 touchdowns, 5 picks for him this year. Yes, he was really good in that game-winning drive. But there's certain things that he's not doing well. He's been a little errant with the football, taking sacks when he shouldn't be. And Brian Thomas hasn't really been that guy that we saw from last year. But at the same time, they're 4-1 because of that defense, like you said. They've been really good against the pass. They've been intercepting balls. They've been just finding ways to get that football and give it to the offense, and that can lead to good things. And the rushing attack has been really good with Travis Etienne. That's the guy we expected, early on in his career to continue, and now it's finally happening. So they could actually be better, and they're 4-1. And it starts with Lawrence. I think he can be better. And he would even say that too. And I expect things to get a little bit, I expect Lawrence to find ways to make things happen, as the season progresses. But I haven't seen the best out of Trevor so far.
Yeah, I'm going to be on kind of the flip side of you. I actually do like what Trevor Lawrence has done this season. Not from a numbers standpoint, because, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. It's not the greatest stat line. But I think he's taking strides as a leader. I've seen it in his post-game and in the locker room videos. It seems like the guys are really rallying around him, and I think that he's got a good connection with his new head coach. vibes can do a lot for a team. And sure, if you've got good vibes in a terrible team, obviously that's not going to completely turn you around. But they have a solid foundation. It seems like everyone is bought into what they're trying to do. And Trevor Lawrence is at the front of that. And can he play better? Sure. But I think that's going to come as the season goes on. And if we see more of the Clemson Trevor Lawrence, I think, hey, you got a team that can make a run.
Yeah, and especially in that division too. Yes, the Colts are there; they're 4-1 as well. But you see those other two teams; they're just mediocre and terrible with the Texans and the Titans. So like you said, I do agree. Trevor Lawrence has been a good leader for them. I expect better things though, and I think when it comes down to if it comes to the playoffs, will Trevor Lawrence step up? I don't know what to expect with him. Still only close to 1/3 of the season left. But Trevor Lawrence, he's found ways to make things happen when he had to, and you saw that with the Chiefs with those good throws, that beauty of a throw to Brian Thomas at the end. And then, of course, stumbling twice and finding a way to the end zone. I don't know what the Chiefs were doing there. They didn't expect that to happen, but Trevor found a way, and I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, so in this matchup, two pretty solid offenses. I think the Seahawks definitely have the edge there. But the Jags defense is just spectacular. Do you think a certain team has the edge here, or is this just going to be a really tight, contested matchup?
I actually like both defenses, really, Jacksonville and Seattle. First of all, Seattle, I don't think they haven't surrendered more than 20 points in 2 games. It's only been 1 game they've done it, and it was last week. So Seattle's defense I really like, and they've had injuries, but at the same time, Jacksonville has also found ways to, get the football when they have to, make matters really bad for opposing quarterbacks. Josh Hines-Allen has been a monster in that pass rush. But at the same time, the Jaguars actually give up 6th most passing yards in the league. So I feel like Darnold can take advantage of that. And Seattle's really good against the run too. So I give the slight edge to Seattle. They are on the road, but I feel like Seattle coming off a loss, I give them the slight edge against the Jaguars defense. It's a quick turnaround coming from that Monday Night Football game.
I'm going to give it to the Jags, because why not? I like Trevor Lawrence. I like what they're doing so far. I'm bought into their energy, and I think it would just be fun. I like the Seahawks, but I think it would be fun to watch the Jags win this one. Okay, for our last matchup, we are returning overseas. The NFL is back in London for the matchup between the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos, and our correspondent, Suinni Upal, is on the ground. Suinni, what do you got for us?
Well, thank you, David and Ryan. Yeah, really looking forward to that Chiefs-Lions game as well myself. It's a shame it's a 1 a.m. start for me, but I'll be getting plenty of energy drinks on the way home from our London game this weekend, which is what I want to talk to you a bit about, of course. We have the Broncos and Jets back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. It's game 3 of 6 of the NFL's European slate in 2025. We've got a really good one to come next weekend at Wembley Stadium when the Rams play the Jags. Jags obviously flying after their win against the Chiefs on Monday night to move them to 4-1. And plenty to look forward to in November as well, with Berlin, Germany on the schedule, with the Falcons and Colts going there, and then the Commanders Dolphins in Madrid, the first ever game in Spain, to wrap us up here in Europe this season. And if we have a quick flashback to last weekend at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, well, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Cleveland Browns with a last-minute touchdown from Jordan Addison. Addison was actually benched in the first quarter of the game. Head coach Kevin O'Connell revealing that he missed a walkthrough at team practice at their base at Hanbury Manor, which is about 45 minutes in that direction, and that's where the Denver Broncos are staying this week ahead of this Sunday's game. We're at the New York Jets base today, the Grove Hotel, which is where the England national football team stay, and it's where the Browns stayed last week, and it's a home away from home for the Jets at the moment, which is probably just what they need given their tough start in New York. So let's break this game down more specifically then. We have the 3-2 Broncos against the 0-5 Jets. Broncos pretty comfortable favourites, 7.5 points I think is the spread depending on where you're looking at the moment. Broncos are 3-2. They're really in good position in the AFC West. Obviously the Chiefs have dominated that division for almost a decade now, but the way it's played out, Kansas City are 2-3. The Chargers started 3-0 and actually beat the Broncos as well and looked like they were going to run away with the division. But Denver's really in play to make a playoff run, and Bo Nix is looking really comfortable at quarterback. He's really started to come into his own. He's got 2 really good running backs behind him. J.K. Dobbins, the veteran, doing what he has done over the years really and being the workhorse that they need. RJ Harvey, the rookie, his role is really growing. He's picking up a lot of the pass catching stuff, but it's a real 1-2 punch complement in Denver at the moment. And I think Denver's best asset really is their coach, Sean Payton. I'm really fascinated by that whole AFC West division with their 4 coaches. You've got Andy Reid obviously at the Chiefs, you've got Jim Harbaugh at the Chargers, you've got Pete Carroll at the Raiders, and with Sean Payton as well. You've got 4 NFL icons there really. So that's almost like a fascinating subplot in the AFC West battle. But if we go on to the Jets, well, 0-5, things haven't really gone well for them this year. Remember, they came to London last year to play the Vikings with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and with Robert Saleh as head coach. Well, they've had a complete reset this year with a new head coach, obviously, at Aaron Glenn, new general manager as well. Justin Fields is at quarterback, but it hasn't worked. 0-5, it's not the start that they were after in New York. Maybe they're grateful to get away from that environment for a week, but what you don't want is Aaron Glenn to suffer the same fate that Robert Saleh actually suffered. Was when they lost here in London, he was fired before he even got back to New York. The way things have gone so far, it's hard to see, Ryan, really, that your Jets can get a win in this game.
All right, thanks, Sonny. He'll be back for one more London matchup next week. For now, that's it for Ain't That Our Ball. You can watch us every Thursday, and every Monday you can catch X's and O's. Please leave a like and subscribe, and comment who you think is going to come out on top in the Chiefs and Lions matchup.